Hey, what's up? It's John from the YouTube channel Pro Craps. Back in 2021, we did a 24-hour telethon to raise funds for the National Council on Problem Gambling. In fact, we raised over $6,000 to raise awareness and provide resources for those with gambling problems. As part of the telethon, we interviewed over 20 of the biggest names in gambling to get their perspective on gambling issues, gambling problems, their experiences, and of course have a little bit of fun with them. I hope you'll enjoy this interview I did with David Noll from Casino Quest. David is in the building. We just don't have any volume for him.
Microphone? How about this one? Is this one working? Oh,
I got you. Yes, we can hear
the
you.
red line went away. At least that's a plus. Can
There
you
it
see
is.
me, hear me? Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
We had the whole green screen schedule. Something, our hardware didn't sync up, dude. I got a whole team here. We spent 2 hours. Didn't work out so well. All right, well, I'm here.
That's all good.
Sorry,
hey,
my
how
friend.
are you? How are you?
I'm good. We're I might need. I got Timmy here. Slippery Timmy, lean in here, buddy. Come on.
Hey,
There
Timmy,
he
how you doing,
is.
man?
Good.
Nice to see you.
I'm doing good. We had a great what was it? Black Friday. So that worked out nice. Had a lot of fans. We were busy. It was the we haven't made any money on any Black Friday since opening. So it was a bit of a tearful moment, I guess, for us. When we first opened, we opened on Black Friday 2019, and we had one guy wander in. The mall was packed, by the way, so we had a lot of people walking through, and we were all ready, very excited, and one person finally wandered through. And they didn't buy anything, but they said hello, that they had seen our channel. So we came into this Black Friday a little skeptical. Of course, the next Black Friday was the. Am I gonna be able to hear them? Ooh, you're just gonna plug it right in. We're doing this. We're just sort of rigging everything. Oh, I think I'll probably be able to hear you now too. There you go. Oh,
hey.
fantastic.
Oh, okay, cool.
So anyways, we went into this Black Friday a little skeptical, but worked out fantastic. We had a record-breaking day for us, so that's good. Yes. All right, so how are you guys doing? How's everybody out there? Thank you for being patient. Sorry I'm late.
I appreciate you. You keep coming, trying to get it back in again. That's awesome.
Yeah, we weren't going to give up.
Yeah, we're having some tech issues right now. We've got it's supposed to be streaming live on all the channels, but it's not streaming on everybody's channel. So I'm trying to figure out why that is. But as long as they can get them, we can get them to my channel at least for now. We can get everybody. So you and I talked a little bit previous to this, and I'm getting some echo back from you all. It sounds like.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
we got.
I'm hearing it through.
Is there any way to turn this camera? Oh, you're hearing it through me? Okay, hold on a second. He's getting some echo back. Do you want to fix that?
Yeah, I think
it's amazing.
I'm hearing voices on your end coming out of your speakers.
Oh, really? Coming out of the speaker? Well, we have. So we're at Casino Quest. We're still open.
Oh, that's what I'm hearing somebody out there. Okay.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Okay, that's not. It's just generally good background noise. Cool.
It is. It's a good problem.
Tell them I lowered the gain.
Yeah. How do we adjust the camera so they're not looking at my bald spot, dude? What's going on over here? No one wants to see. Oh, that's where we're good. Oh, sir. I didn't. Oh my gosh, Mike, look at you over there. Adjust your camera carefully. No, all right. Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah. So I want to start with this because we're doing this for problem gambling. This is a gambling addiction type of thing, and we had talked previously about this. But you're a dealer. You've seen a lot. You've experienced a lot, and I want you to talk to us about what you've seen, heard, felt, experienced, and just kind of give us a general sense of from both sides of the table. I know you've got a personal story as well.
So I have some really ridiculously bad stories. I have some other stories that I guess the problem gambling thing doesn't end well. I have some good stories. I have a couple, husband and wife. They were living in a weekly. They didn't come to Vegas very well prepared. And they ended up both hitting the fire bet. The girl hit the fire bet. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the fire bet. You got a big craps audience, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And so it was at a casino that was 1,000 to 1. So they had $5 on the line. They were shooting from opposite ends of the table. They were staying in a weekly sort of across the street. And the young man was actually kind of communicating like they were screwed, they were going to get evicted. This was kind of they figured they were going to go all in, right? Because there's a point where, see, I think that could be a problem. But if you only have like $20 left and you can't pay your rent, that's sort of the gambler's logic, right? Well, might as well just go in all the way and see how it works out. And it worked out great. They both hit the fire bet. They were the only people playing. There were no other bets on the table except a pass line and a fire bet. She hit a 6-pointer. She had $2 on the fire bet. She got paid $2,000. And it took a while to get them paid because they have to fill out the paperwork. And the husband on the other side of the table, he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to do that." But he only had an extra $1, and he didn't think he could follow up with the fire bet. He did $1. But anyways, all right. So that's a story that ends well. They don't all end so well. That's a gambler fallacy, right? So people buy into this idea that, well, I'm down 300. I might as well risk the last 300 to get it back, right? That's one of the things. The most epic story I have. How come this is so high? It can't be over here. Because I'm looking at him. Oh, I see. All right. Can I put him on this monitor? How do I bring him over here so I can be like, I'm trying to get these cameras squared away. Yeah. Cameras. So I'm not looking. There we go. That's better. That's better.
Just fall away.
The worst story I have. Actually, I don't know if this is the best story or the worst story about a gambling addiction, right? I knew a guy who loved craps so much. He was a lot of fun to deal to. He would start out at Caesar's Palace. Is this him freezing or me freezing?
Oh, you froze. I think David froze up again.
Still?
Nope, we lost him again. All right, that's okay. We'll hang tight here for David to come back here. No problem. We got part of it. Here we go. Let's try it again. There we go. You're back.
I guess the land went out.
Really? All right. Yeah. So we had this gentleman. He would stay at Caesar's Palace for the first. He would come out for about 10 days at a time. The camera just collapsed it. It just whacked the camera. It's like the Jetsons over here, man. It's like a carnival show. I mean, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy used to come out to Vegas. He would start at Caesar's Palace. He was a high roller, and then he would end up at the Gold Coast. So back in the day, the early 90s, the Gold Coast used to have some celebrity action, but it was a pretty if you really wanted to play, like, get in the dirt type of dice, it was a great experience. Like, you got to see a lot of different action. It wasn't just – so the Strip back in the day was limited to, like, pretty basic higher limit bets, this kind of thing. If you really wanted to see a table go, you had to go downtown, go to the Horseshoe, go to the Plaza, these kinds of places where they had a lot of tables, and it was, people buying it for $100 and playing across and really going for it, right? Anyway, so this guy was a broker from L.A., worth millions of dollars, right? $1 million brokerage in L.A., and married with kids, big house, all this stuff. He would always come to the table dressed to, he's either really still. Are we still there?
Yeah. Now you're
right.
Yep, you're back again. Well, we lost him again. That's right. He'll be back, I'm sure. This is fun, isn't it? Live TV for the win. Here we go.
There we go.
All right, there you go. Yep.
It's going to be a fight, sir. It's going to be a battle.
It's all good.
So,
it's all good.
Is it easy enough to plug back in? It's plugged in. Yeah, it's not hooking up with it. All right. So we have our internet. Is something wrong with the internet feeding the pipes? We have fiber here at the mall, and there's been this ongoing problem. It can't be fixed till Monday, which sucks for us. But anyway, so this guy went through the very last time he came to Vegas. It turned out Caesars kind of evicted him from the room. And it was sort of his last hurrah. At that point, he had lost, over the course of about a year and a half, I watched this guy descend into literally just, he lost everything. He lost his house. He lost his marriage. He ended up he ended up a taxi cab driver. And so he worked for his tokes, and you would see him come in almost every day at the end of his shift. He'd buy him for $60. He played a bird game or a dollar game, and it was a pretty famous example of someone who just put it all out there. And it's interesting because he was always the nicest guy. Win or lose, it was like you never knew this was going on behind the scenes, that he was literally losing his life. And for as long as I was still there at the Gold Coast, he was always, it's all he wanted to do was just play dice. He didn't care. The rest of it was sort of, miscellaneous, And so ultimately, that I think is the most, it's a story that sticks for someone who just sort of gambled their way into a sense of oblivion. But the good ending is it's all he wanted to do. I mean, he was happy just being a cab driver and, gambling $60. He went from this, I don't know what kind of stresses he had or how difficult his life was prior to that, but he seemed happy, honestly, right? But
and you dealt to him, right?
I dealt. Yeah, it was a famous story. It was about over the course of a year, and it was sort of the end of his craps, his gambling experience. I mean, he was a legit high roller at Caesar's Palace. He would get a room, a suite, and they would set him up. He was on a credit line. Apparently, he had some trouble paying out his last credit line. So they would give him 50,000 or 100,000, whatever it was. He would spend that, and then I guess towards the end of the week that he was supposed to stay at Caesar's, they finally they realized he wasn't going to be able to manage his marker. And back in the day, nowadays it's more stringent. There are more laws and there are more things in place for them to collect your money. But basically, gambling bets were sort of illegal in other states, so it was hard for them to collect on you, right? So some people would take advantage of this, and that's no longer the case, from my understanding. But yeah.
So let me ask you this. I guess what I'm thinking the whole time here is collateral damage, right? So you said, obviously it hurts him, right? It hurts his family and everything else. But as a dealer in that situation, the casino doesn't care. The casino could care less. They want their money. They don't care if the guy rolls out and sleeps in a tent. But as a human, working with the guy, you're dealing him every day. How does that? How do you bring that home? How do you filter through that?
I mean, you can't, man. You can't bring it home. There's so many stories like that. They roll out all the time. It was amazing. When I worked on the strip, I would see it on a daily basis. Somebody who would sell their plane ticket, their return plane ticket to someone, or I know a guy who who lost everything, sold all his rings. I mean, he was literally going through his clothes, trying to get people to buy his clothes. The money he had to take a cab to get to the airport. The only thing that got him home was the fact that he had paid for his return flight, and I guess he had no way to sell it. But you run across these. This is a constant thing here. People come with bigger dreams than they have. Bankrolls or reality that plays out, right? You see it. I mean, I wouldn't say you see it a lot, but you do see it. Someone like this guy, I didn't hear about the after until I started seeing him come in as a cab driver. Then that's when it dawned on me that his life went through this material change. He seemed to handle it really well. So whether he was never upset, he was always very even mannered. He barely drank. He was a very friendly guy. You would never have known he went through this transition if not for some of the other players that were there that knew him. But I guess the radicalized or the radical ones where people lose everything on the table and they get drunk and they get upset and they have to be taken out of the casino or those types of situations. Obviously, you feel bad. I mean, it's not. I think in the minute you really don't know what they're going through until after, right?
Right.
So I've known a lot of friends myself who has had problems with gambling. I went through it with people. I mean, you surround yourself with kind of the same people, right? So when I was gambling and drinking, things like this, my friends were gambling, drinking. And in many cases, we would put ourselves into a situation. Luckily, at the time, I had a wife who took a lot of my tips out of play. So I was able to pay bills. But I got buried so often, you have no idea. I mean, I had to walk barefoot one time from the parking lot of the Gold Coast. So I found myself in the back of this car. Right, I'm not exactly sure how. I was supposed to work the next day. I had to, but I didn't have any shoes, so my clothing was in the back seat. And I remember thinking, like, I don't know how I left my shoes. And this is back before cell phones were a thing. So there used to be a shuttle between the Barbary Coast and the Gold Coast. And I had to take the shuttle because it wasn't my car, strangely enough. I didn't even have a car at that point, but I had to take the shuttle barefoot in my Gold Coast dealer uniform back to the Barbary Coast and then walk down the street to my friend's apartment. This is, by the way, this is probably the time when I realized I had, a legitimate problem with gambling. I mean, I was willing to give up everything, even my shoes, apparently, to keep playing. I mean,
My God.
but yeah.
Wow. And then, so, wow, that's amazing. So you do that, you go through all that, and then you come back and you're still dealing. You're still in the business of it. How do you,
I mean, you got no choice.
How does your brain work, man? How does that happen?
I mean, the
Like,
mentality of dealer,
I guess,
of course. I mean, a lot of people, they start out in this business and they go a little crazy at first, especially if you're young, right? You're young, you become a casino dealer. Back in the day, you used to get your money every day. It was delivered in an envelope. So you'd have your tokes, you would collect your tips every day.
Mm-hmm.
At the Gold Coast, I didn't make so much money, but when I got to the Rio, I was making 300 plus a day in tips or tokes, right? So you take that money and what do? You're young. You go, there's a lot of great clubs. There's a lot of great, places to drink. And, a lot of people that are in the gaming business are surrounded by, other people in the gaming business. And, people see the action. They want to be part of that action. A lot of dealers sort of try to level up, get beyond their means at first because there's so much money moving, right? You see all these people playing all this money, and you feel like you're in it. You know what I mean? And then by getting off of work, it's sort of an extension of that. And next thing you know, you're buried, you can't pay your rent, and you're out a few watches, right?
Wow. But it's easy.
But,
I lived,
easy, yeah.
So I lived in South Jersey. I grew up in South Jersey. And
Yeah.
I never worked at a casino. I actually went to culinary school there in Atlantic City
Okay.
to work as a chef in a casino. I never actually took the job, but I worked in restaurants all my life. And I remember even at 15 years old, 16, every day getting those tips. Every day you divvy it up and you're walking out of a restaurant at midnight with, $150 as an 18-year-old kid. And it's easy. It's like not even money.
Yeah.
You don't even see it as money. It's just like, it's coming again tomorrow. So what do I got to do now?
I think people get caught up in it, and don't realize it sometimes until it's kind of too late, right? Because for me, it was always about the challenge, beating a dealer. I was very competitive. It wasn't so much about the money. A lot of times, I would find myself on a table. A dealer would take my money, and I would look for that dealer to come back. Even if they went on break, I would follow them through the pit, and I would try to win my money. It was a competitive thing, strangely enough. But there were times I used to play at the Holiday a lot. I would get buried all the time, and I had a friend there with deep pockets that would always bail me out, and it wouldn't always work out so well. And then I would just be more buried. Luckily, he would extend the loan for a period of time, and he saved me. But it was a tough way to live, man. It was really, really difficult. Interestingly, there was no help. There's no person to talk to or no person to turn to. Casinos are really invested in you having no money. And taking you don't want to leave the casino with any coin. They had they started with the $10, $25 table down to the 5 and the 1, and then a quarters, and nickels, and pennies on the way out until you had nothing left. You know what I mean? So, it's a very we have the school, and we have a lot of people that come to Vegas, especially young people that want to be a dealer. And we always tell them, the big question is, okay, where do I live? What do I come with? So we tell them, listen, come with, 3 or 4 months of the resources you need to, pay your rent, pay your bills while you're going through training, but also stay the hell out of the casino because you start that or stay, if you have an addictive personality, this is not the place to find out that you have an addictive personality, at least until you have a job, right? So we have had a couple students, even one very recently came to the school, was a fan of the channel. He paid for our all year package, all the games, and within 3 days he comes. So the first 2 days everything is fine. He found a place to live temporarily. The third day he comes to the school and you can see he's got crap in his hair. It looks like he's rolled out from under a bridge, and now he needs a refund. He's got to get home because he's lost all his money. He has $0 to invest. You know what I mean? And we have an incredible turnover rate at the school. Strangely enough, we have so many people who start and then don't finish, for whatever reason, that we sort of lose track of, right? And Vegas will suck the life out of you if you don't pay attention,
Yeah. So what's the mindset like? So if you're recommending somebody come or don't come, or go to school or don't go to school, you're saying if you may not even know you had that addictive personality when you first get there. You find out when you get there, but you're saying bring enough money for 4 months and stay out of the casinos. Because I want to be a dealer someday, right? I keep saying I want to retire as a dealer, and because I love the game, I like people. And I think I could probably handle it.
That's it. Well, so if you come to Vegas because you want the experience more of the Vegas experience, if you're looking for the limelight and you're looking for the gambling action and the drinking action, there's plenty of that. Being here might not be the best. In that case, it's really just a great place to visit. If you're coming here to start a career because you feel like as a career it's a good fit because you get to interact with people, you know what I'm saying? Like your motivation is more in tune with the opportunity than Vegas as a place. You follow? I mean, Vegas is has its advantages, of course, right? But for some people, some of those advantages are a vice. You know what I mean? I don't even drink anymore. I don't drink. I smoked for many years. I don't smoke. That was a conduit for me as well. I loved going to casinos. As a smoker, I could just sit down and everyone was smoking, and so my wife or whoever I had at home didn't like me smoking, so that was one more reason to be at the casino gambling. You follow?
Right.
So I think if you come to Vegas with the right motivation, the right set of tools, the right support system, you come for the right reasons. If you come for the clubs, I mean, there's a lot of clubs, man, and they're not cheap. They'll suck the life out of you easy. So.
That's interesting. Yeah, because and again, it's the right personality. I'm going to have a guest on here later tonight who's going to talk about. He tried to go to Vegas and become a professional gambler.
Oh, really?
And I know somebody else who has tried this too, and it's like, how hard can it be to win a few $100 every time you go? And it's not easy to do that and have that mindset. And for me, like my selfish motivation is again to go and be a dealer, and like I want sun. I live in Seattle where it's been raining now for 7 straight days, and I'm like, give me some heat, give me some sun, give me a sports team I can go watch, and let me go deal and have fun with people at the table. I think, that's my mindset for it, but that's not everybody's mindset. And I can see where you can get sucked into this thing and be like, I love the game so much, I want to go deal, and then you never leave.
I know a family actually. I know a family that came out where he was going to play poker. That was going to be their solve. They came out from another area of the country where there weren't a lot of jobs, and so they came to the school. It was actually a father and son, and the son was a sports bettor. The father was a poker player, and together they thought they could just lock it up, whatever luck or experiences they had from where they were. And every day they would be like, okay, how do you become a professional crap player? I mean, like, dude, that's not a thing. I mean, I've been doing this for a very long time. No matter what else is out there, I'm sure you'll have other guests. But in my experience, I've seen some people, martingale the field, grind the don'ts. There's a few opportunities out there to try to win, but they would always be like, what's the secret? Listen. You walk outside and you see a $4 billion casino. That's the secret. Own that, and then you can walk away a winner. Because they don't build them cheap. You know what I mean? Like that's not the win. They have many people like you that come out here and whack themselves on our doorstep, and that's why they're so big. You follow? Like,
totally.
It didn't work out. It didn't work out with them. This whole family, by the way, husband, wife, everybody, the kids. And they just came with absolutely the wrong motivation, the wrong incentives, and ultimately they moved to Mesquite, and then I heard that they had moved on from there. But that's just it was not a win.
Tough deal. I mean, I always tell people, like, you look at Atlantic City where I'm from, and Vegas. You look at those lights, like those buildings didn't build themselves. You know what I mean?
True.
Nobody just wrote a check and said, hey, let me just build a big old building here. That's all run on the backs of people getting their asses kicked. Really?
No, that's right. I mean, and the poker players that you see that have really, they're very well disciplined. Like,
Hmm.
the guys that you see that stay on top of the game. Like there was just recently a story, that Swedish guy that won the World Series a number of years ago. I mean, he had to go back to work as an accountant, as good as an aggressive a poker player as he is, right? So if you hear about those people on the top, oh God, I got a little story. I don't know if we got time, but I
Yeah,
know
Tony.
one of I know one of the professional poker players. So he won back in the late '90s World Series of Poker, won exactly $1 million. You can look him up. He's a tall guy, speaks very slowly, and he won. And he has a gambling, a person. Amazingly, if you had met him, you would never think he was a degenerate slot player, like straight up slots, high limit slots at the Cosmo whacked him. The last time I heard of him, actually, a friend of mine was paying slots. He was a slot supervisor at the Cosmo, and he won a $360,000 machine. He hit a $360,000 $25 slot machine, right? $75, $100 a pull. Can you imagine
I
a
can't
poker
even get my
player
head around that. No, I can't imagine that.
on a slot
Oh my
machine? Like
God.
people, they give me shit because I play Keno for a penny. I play Keno for pennies because I could stay alive and stay and have some fun and not be, risking, rent. You know what I mean? But he bought some houses and he got buried in the houses. He tried to convert his opportunity to real estate. But he was considered, one of the best poker players. He was a MIT grad, mathematician. I mean, a genius guy. I mean, you got to have a lot of discipline, man. You know what I'm saying? To win even that game, the poker game. Plus, you got to have ass of steel to sit in those seats, dude. Can you imagine getting to
No.
the final table? And you're like 3 months in, ass in chair every day. I mean, dude, that's a lot, man. I'd be on Depends at that point, dude. I would just give it. You know what I mean?
That's funny. Yeah, and that a grinder mentality does take a lot physically out of you. I actually got a question from Greg,
Yeah.
Greg, a friend of mine. He asked, "Do you find dealing physically demanding?" And I have to know because I have a bad back. So how am I going to do when I got to
really?
do? Yeah.
All right. So the less physically demanding games are like blackjack, roulette, baccarat. A lot of times, baccarat's a sit-down experience, so you can sit down and if you have a back problem. And dice, I teach all my dice. I teach all my dice students to not bend so much and not shift. You want your trump to be sort of forward of the game, right? So there's a way to stay forward, protect your game, and not lean so far left or right. I've been a dealer 30 years and I've never had a back issue. I do some other exercises. So, you'll hear other dealers they'll rail about, oh my God, my back and everything else. That's because they've been bent over, like the actual expression, bent over a dice game. And you don't have to be so bent over. You know what I'm saying? Like there's other ways to sort of manage the game. And plus, I've always stayed in shape. And, it's one of those things you'll see getting heavy as a crap dealer is a detrimental because you put a lot of weight forward of your back and you're bending. And so, you know what I'm saying? So luckily I haven't had that experience, but I think for the other games it's a non-issue. Blackjack, roulette, baccarat especially. Most baccarat games now are sit-down games, so you can just sit down and deal. Yeah.
Yeah, the low ones, the nice low tables.
Yeah, the handicap. Yeah.
Cool. All right, a couple minutes left. I gotta ask some craps questions.
Go.
One guy, one of my subscribers, always asks me about the math.
Yep.
Right? Do you play a math game, or do you see people win at a math game, or do you play just a go for it kind of a game? How do you see that?
Yeah. So the math is great. I see guys that come to the table with the math. They have a little cheat sheets and they have all their presses worked out and all their go-to bets, and then ultimately table gets hot. They go on tilt. And then it's an emotional game. It becomes, how do we have fun and make the most money? Because sometimes the math goes south. Some people stay disciplined, stick with the math. I do not play a math game. By the way, until I really started teaching, even as an instructor, I don't focus on the math because it's not about the math. If you're dealing for a long period of time, the math eludes you. Your brain sort of gets sucked out of one ear, and you got to focus on colors and units. So if you talk to an experienced dealer, yes, you learn. You have to know the math: 7 to 5, 7 to 6, 36. There are basic sort of components you got to put together at first. But once you've put any time in as a dealer, in order to go to scale, like in order to like move up to large amounts, because somebody's going to put down, $973 on, on the six or so. You got to do colors and units. The math starts to get fuzzy. If you've seen some of these baccarat hands, the way they get to those baccarat hands, those big blackjack hands, they just listen. It's this many red, green, black, whatever the case is, and you just push them out there. You follow?
Mm.
So dealers stay away from the math. Even on the proposition box, there's a way to work. There's ways to navigate prop bets. Again, with colors and the units themselves, and not be so hung up on the numbers. But yeah, so I'm absolutely not a math guy. I know I get ripped for that a lot. I'm about practical output, sir. Okay.
Well, I say some people base their entire play on the math. We're just going to go
Yeah,
lowest house
100%.
edge and just kind of roll with,
Mhm.
odds and that kind of thing. Other people are going to do more of a feel based way of playing. And as a dealer, what I always say is this, and I believe that the casino makes money on the length of time the house edge, right? We make money as
Yep.
players if you can catch a spike in a 15-minute window, right?
Yep.
So as a dealer and as a player, I suppose, right? How do you see that? Like, are you long haul or are you short term?
Yeah, screw the long haul, dude. I mean, serious guy. If you grind out a crap game, casino's gonna beat you, man. There's just no grind that's a win. And by the way, those comeback systems suck, and that's what casinos are teaching you all day. They love 2-point Molly, sir. Even before Molly became a drug, it was a drug for the casino. 2-point Molly is not a thing. You can play 2-point Molly all day long, and then wonder you'll be up a little bit, then you'll be down a little bit. The only people I've ever seen walk from the game are power pressers, place bet, power pressing, across some type of system that evolved. Because any number you mitigate, because there's all sorts of systems out there that work the math, right? What's the best? I mean, on the pass line, it's pass line with 2 combats. You follow? It's boring as hell. It's same thing with the flat bet on the don'ts, right? So those are the 2 best math systems if you go strictly with the math and you're trying to grind out the game. But you won't walk from the table because the cable is going to get choppy, right? And choppy just means that the casino beats you both ways, coming and going. You know what I mean? They beat you on the pass side, they beat you on the don't pass. It's quite stunning, by the way. You can lock up a don't pass player and a pass line player all in the same game with the same roll. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
The only people I've ever seen, the Hawaiians, dude. The Hawaiians got this game figured out. They come hard charging and they could pull off enough wins, one big win, one ATS roll, one big win, and they're walking with enough money to pay for the next 5 losses. You follow?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just they could just go for the juggler. By the way, they're the most fun, just as a racial stereotype. I'm not putting it out. They're the most fun to deal with. You see the Hawaiians come out, like when I used to deal with the Gold Coast especially, they would circle the table, $500,000 buy-ins, and they just go to town, dude. There's no math. It's all emotion. All they do is, I want to cross and press me till it hurts. You know what I mean?
Interesting. All right. Our last minute, then the last thing I've got to ask you then is this, because we're talked about the addiction and everything else before, right? What do you do personally? What do you see that works for folks bankroll management wise? Because that's a thing I think people tend to sort of forget about or go by the wayside. And I'm a big preacher of that. But what do you see that works, or what do you do that works?
Dude, I 100% agree. So what I do is when we teach people here, we talk to them about tiers of opportunity. So as our bankroll expands, so does our betting strategies, right? The reason why Vegas is winning so much money right now, even though there's so many less people here, is because people are playing short money. They're not playing with the right bankroll. They're not creating the right opportunity for themselves. You can't play a $25 table with $100. There's no strategy on the planet. But at the same time, you don't have to start all in. Different people can afford different things. Create tiers of opportunity based on the win. You get to 2x, now you've opened up some other opportunity to play. But be in the mix long enough to get to 2x, right? Or go to 3x, 4x, you're beating 4 times your bankroll, those types of things. And I always focus on a point where I leave, where that's it. I don't care. Once I get to if I get 10x on a $100 buy-in, by the way, or 5x, $1,000, that's my Keno walking money, sir. When I get that $1,000, I'm leaving. Even though I keep telling myself, listen, I was this hot, I'm gonna hit another one. No, I'm gonna get my ass in the car. You know what I mean? I'm even gonna tell the clerk, listen, You see me cash out $1,000, just go ahead and give my machine away to somebody else because I need to get out the door. Because I'll just keep playing, thinking I'm going to win again. That's not a thing. You follow? Same thing with
100%.
dice. I create. This is where this is my walking money. When I get past that, I put that money. I squirrel away that money. I might, if I have 1,040, I might play the 40. Okay, but I'm walking with that $1,000. You follow?
Totally. I'm the same way. Yep. Scroll it away,
good.
lock it up, and play with the excess. If you're gonna have fun, have fun with that excess money. If that's what your game's about. So cool.
No, 100%. Good stuff, man. Really sorry I had all those technical issues.
It's not on you. I've had
wait a minute.
Getting things to go live too. So
I forgot the most important thing, dude. We so as part of this thing, if you don't know, we released a Craps app. I was supposed to have it on the damn green screen behind me, and it's at Crapsy.com. And you can play for free, and it's Crapsy.com. We got a lot of great things coming. It's literally for free. There's no ads, nothing to watch. You can play with your friends. For anyone that signs up though, for a year, we're gonna for every yearly sub, we're gonna give away $5 to this charity. Okay, so anyone within this 24 hours that signs on, $5. So hopefully we have a bunch of people. I mean, it's only $50 if you pay for the year, so that's a 10% of that. We're gonna give that away. We got bills to pay. But I hope you guys check out Crapsy.com. If you love craps. We just released it this last week. We've had a lot of really great feedback. It's a very immersive. It's literally the ultimate crap set that's out there. And I know I'm going past my time, sir. I apologize for that.
It's okay.
All right, but there you go.
That is fantastic, David. Thank you. And I'll make sure I'll put an ad up, a between screen for everybody to see that with the URL for Crapsy.com, and then also what you're. That's so generous of you. Thank you for that. That's amazing.
We're rolling out tournaments with gifts and Vegas, and you'll be able to come out here. We got a lot of things in the works, so definitely check us out. And my last plug is shopcasinoquest.com, and we'll put together another bit of money for you. And I hope you have a lot of luck and enjoy. I know you have a lot of great guests coming, so thank you so much.
It's going to be amazing. Thank you, David, for your time. I'm sorry we had a late start, but
no worries.
So valuable to get to talk to you. Thank you so much.
All right, take care, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
See you guys. Bye. Bye.
All right.
Bye. How do we do this?